Welcome to another episode.
Mate, I hadn't even put my phone down.
Yeah.
Cool.
Snooze, you lose, bitch.
Welcome to another. You go.
No, you go.
You go.
No.
Martin, you go.
No,
Should we toss a coin?
Let Martin do it.
Welcome to another episode of.
Sorry.
Welcome to another episode of The Horrors of Netflix, and this evening, I think we're going to be talking about the cinematic masterpiece that is.
Hi, I'm Callum. This is Martin. Tonight we're going to be talking about the cinematic masterpiece that is The Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Me and Martin have been completing each other's sentences today. It's quite creepy. So is this film, in a way. Basically, it's one of those beautiful films where it's perfectly encapsulated in the title. There's no surprises in this movie. There's literally what it says on the tin. Assuming you bought one of the DVDs that comes in a tin. I quite like them. Do you like them?
I don't think there was a tin
DVD of this movie.
This movie.
Certainly not on Netflix.
Was there a Criterion special edition of Killer Clowns from
Oh
Outer
yes,
Space?
director's cut,
Yeah.
audio commentary,
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, it's a classic. So this movie is very strange because, in a lot of times, it goes down very, kind of straight horror paths, and a lot of the guys in it actually think they're in, or seem to be acting as if they're in very serious movies. Particularly the young police officer. He's given his all.
Well, I think he's really cast as a straight man in it.
Yeah.
All. He's the I don't know.
What's it about?
It's about
about
killer
killer
clowns
clowns.
from outer space.
And they land in a circus tent
Yep, big
from outer
top.
space.
And essentially,
And it's the sort of film for people who think someone getting hit in the face with a cream pie is unironically funny.
and then dissolving. Because
Yeah.
these clowns have got all the standard clown tropes, except from the fact that everything they do is kind of a horrific version of it.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of kind of these days especially you hear a lot of people talking about they're scared of clowns, that clowns are scary, that because they wear like makeup that has an emotion plastered on their face, you can't tell their true emotions, there's something sinister about them. But the irony, I think, with Killer Clowns from Outer Space is that the killer clowns from outer space are not that scary. I didn't think the clowns themselves were that scary. I know they're
It's
supposed
interesting
to be funny,
because,
but
as you say, on the one hand, they're playing on people that do have legitimate fears of clowns,
Yeah.
as opposed to the people that have illegitimate fears. But I hate that phrase, legitimate fears. But anyway, there's people that have actual fears, but they also, you're dealing with a subject matter that's fucking nonsense as well.
Yeah.
It's clowns from outer space, but they do their best. I mean, for one thing, the makeup's good on them. I mean,
Yeah.
the physical effects that they do are pretty good,
I
and
get
there's a
the-
lot of big sets.
the
built.
guys that directed it, I believe it's forgive me if I don't pronounce this right, but the guys are called the Chiodo brothers.
Not the Chode.
Not the Chode brothers, the Chiodo brothers.
Different
They
film.
they are actually they're quite well known in Hollywood as prosthetic animatronic effects guys. So I very much get the feeling that this movie was produced as
There's a lot of practical
showcase
effects in it.
for their practical effects. The film itself, I thought it was a bit hard going, if I'm really honest.
To get through it.
Yeah, it thinks
Comedy
it's all,
relief is the biggest issue. Like the characters,
the whole
the
thing
human
thinks it's
characters
like,
that are
the
thrown in.
acting is really bad. I know it's going for a very kind of like spoof of 1950s B pictures, B sci-fi movies, but it's nowhere near as clever as it thinks it is. That
There's
good text,
something I want to
Callum?
quickly check. Is the guy that plays the main cop? Not not the young guy, but the older guy.
the police chief.
Yeah.
He was in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and he sounds exactly like Frank Drebin.
yeah,
Which
yeah,
I couldn't get out of my head for the whole time, and he's kind of essentially what happens is these
He's in Airplane 2, funnily enough.
He is,
right?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. Grant, wait, one of the guys in it, his character's name is Mike Tobacco.
Yeah, the main
Oh,
character.
Oh, because it's the Tobacco Brothers.
This is some good YouTube guys.
This is
Yes,
a
yeah,
good
some dead
Right,
air.
I
But-
need to find out who this
But
guy is.
basically, the movie kind of
John Vernon.
John Vernon, that's it.
and he's in Dirty Harry, Animal House. That's where I remember from as well.
But it tries to be a really kind of like biting pastiche of 1950s sci-fi movies, but it's not. It just follows the same tropes kind of unironically, except there's clowns which are supposed to be inherently funny and a bit scary, but they're not really either of those things. You get people getting wrapped up in cotton candy because that's supposed to be funny because clowns did it and clowns cotton candy. It's
but then
not
at the same time,
really-
there's a bit where they pull,
Very-
part of the cotton candy away, and the guy's face is like all covered in blood and everything.
it's-
as well.
it's kind of-
so
there's
it
a
walks
few-
this line. I mean, that's the thing we were saying as well. A guy gets custard pie to death, but actually literally melts away.
Yeah, but it's,
too, you know,
the,
it's
the,
like-
the gore and the horror is still quite PG-13. There is one really disturbing. It is a PG-13 movie. I'm pretty
Fuck
sure.
off.
No, I'm pretty sure it is. It's a one fuck movie. You can always spot a PG-13 movie if they say fuck.
They punch
once.
a guy's head off.
Yeah, but it's bloodless.
Is it?
Well, look, Indiana Jones is a guy's face
Right.
melting and his head explodes.
Let's see if that's a bloodless action.
No, like I'm pretty sure it was a PG. Mike's looking it up right now, I think, or he's doing.
We've got our
something. He's
best
checking
men
his
on.
text.
No, sorry.
I'm pretty sure it's a PG-13
That's some
film.
sizable breasts. Not on you, the picture. Right, so PG. Oh,
I think, but there's one really disturbing scene in it where I'm not going to spoil it. There's one really disturbing scene in it, but for the most part, it just goes for sort of goofy comedy. It wants to be a black.
PG-13.
Yeah.
Well, fuck me.
You can only see that once in a PG-13 film.
How many times can we say it in this video?
This is definitely an R-rated video.
Yeah. That's changed my entire perception of it in the head. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
Not. It pushes the line of being quite grisly, but for the most part, the humor is just straightforward clowns goofing around, and yeah, a guy gets his head punched off in that, but it's silly. It's like. It's not like even Evil Dead 2 kind of splat stick. It's just sort of circus.
But there's a real
tropes.
Evil Dead vibe to it. Like you can tell it's people that watch Evil Dead. I mean,
Yeah.
particularly a lot of the way
The
the horror's
prosthetics
brought
and
in
everything
and
are
stuff
quite-
like that. It feels there's real elements of like a kind of Sam Raimi film in it.
Yeah, I guess so, but it's not as sharp. It's not as sharp. It's not as funny.
Oh no, it's not in the same level.
It's not like the. It's just like they're clowns, so they give them like popcorn guns and stuff, and you're supposed to laugh at the very idea of a clown having
Yeah.
a popcorn gun. It's just like, nah.
The practical sets are the strange thing. There's some quite large
Yeah.
sets. All right, they're backed up with
Yeah,
like matte paintings,
and
but
stuff.
they've
yeah.
built some pretty large sets of it. The one thing I would have to say is I think that quality-wise, actually, it's
Production
an
values-
HD movie on Netflix, and it's held
Yeah.
up pretty well.
The production value's pretty good, and the clown designs are actually quite nice.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen a bit more like black humor. Like people don't act realistically in it, and I know that's what they're going for. Like clowns show up at people's door and hand them flowers, and like, oh,
And
that's
they're like,
lovely.
"Oh,
and then
that's
people
funny,
get
yeah."
squirted in the face with like what those little water tricks
Yeah.
that squirt people in the face, and like everyone's supposed to roll around laughing at that. Like, does anyone actually find clowns funny? I mean, I don't really find them scary either, but I certainly don't find them funny.
Can I go back to is the one grizzly bit the bit that's
Yeah,
yeah that is
it
quite,
pretty much
that's
is
a
what
good
you
bit.
imagine.
We can blur that out, it's just not spoilers.
I have to admit that's actually one bit that actually
Yeah.
made me kind of think that it wouldn't be PG-13. No, that and the fact that they punched the guy's head off.
So I know I'm not in this one, chaps, but I remember.
Michael Whitehouse, guys.
I remember watching that film as a kid
Yeah,
because of the front cover.
yeah,
It was one that people would always take out
Yeah.
in the video shop, and that scene you're talking about, it always stayed with me.
Did you think of it as a much more disturbing film than it really is because
But that
of
was
that
the only
remembering
thing I
that?
remember.
I think it's the sort of film. It's the sort of film that would maybe scare you and have more of an impact if you were very young. I think PG-13 is maybe a fair. It sums it up quite well in a way
but
because
it's an interesting one as well though because you get them for the large part the movie is fucking silly, right?
Yeah.
But then you get moments like that where and it's almost because they lull you into false sense of security up to then that when that happens you're just like,
Yeah.
Christ.
it's in some ways it's good and in some ways it's like they're not really getting the tone right. It's like they're struggling to reach a kind of consistent tone. The gruesome stuff is kind of like separate from the quote unquote funny stuff, and I feel it would have been better if the gruesome stuff and the funny stuff had been mixed together to make
Yeah.
a more kind of twisted sort of fairground vibe. But things I thought it did well were the special effects, the animatronics and the sets.
Not so much the optical stuff, like
The
the beams and stuff
although,
like that.
although at the end when the thing takes off and it's like a big spinning top,
Yeah.
it's not really a spoiler because it's in
Yeah.
the trailer, but that was quite cool. But I didn't think the story was very well thought out. What are you doing? I'm good.
the lights. There we go. We just had a momentary solar
I was going to have a
eclipse.
Terminator Salvation meltdown there.
Sorry about that.
Fucking with my
Sorry.
lights.
I was just going to check the time for that, so I was going to try and do it
Cool.
on on the
QT.
snide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that like the story wasn't very well thought out. So initially the tent spaceship lands in a forest, and yet later they go and there's a real fairground on the beach, and the tent spaceship's there with no explanation as to why it's moved. It just like stuff just happens because
It's hard to
fits
know
the
at
story.
points
There's
whether
no
it is
logic
meant
to
to
it.
just be a pure horror movie or whether they're having a joke.
I think they are having a joke, but it's not as snappy as they think it is. I don't think.
I think it's worth a watch.
There's
If
some
you
bits
want
to
something
do,
to
make
turn
you get-
your brain off for
Yeah.
the most part, and you want a kind of campy horror movie that actually the effects won't put you off or anything.
Yeah.
They're decent and it's well put together, and it's quality wise, I would say transfer wise, has stood the test of time. It's quite good.
Yeah, it would be. I tell you what, it would be a good film to have playing in the background at a Halloween party or something like that.
With the sound off.
Yeah.
It's like a children's party.
you
I thought
could.
you were
It's
gonna
the
say
sort.
Roger.
It's the sort of film that you could have kids in the room while it's on. It's not that horrific, and it would make it sort of set a good kind of tone. But I don't think it's the sort of thing you'd want to sit down and watch of an evening, like for your
We
serious.
did.
I know.
To make this video.
I know, and it was. I thought it was pretty tough going. I didn't think it was a bad film. It's got quite a cool kind of 80s horror vibe, but I didn't really. I know it's got its following. It definitely has a big following.
Yep.
In fact, I believe there's a Killer Clowns wiki out there with all the different clowns
They are as
listed
well.
and
Yeah,
named
yeah.
and all that. And I think the Chiodo brothers have a bit of a following as well. But I didn't really shut up. I didn't really get it. I can see some of its strengths, but I
think there'll be
wouldn't-
some people that enjoy it. I think it's definitely a movie that's not for everyone, but I think for the most part, I'd probably say check it out if you want some. If there's element like
Yeah. Check it out if you're bored and you just want to watch some kind of mindless 80s horror thing with a little bit of crap comedy mixed in.
Well, I bet
If
you're
you like
glad
shit,
you watched this.
you'll like this.
It's probably not as good as the other ones we've reviewed, but it was
Yeah.
something at one point that I was actually looking for, and I can't remember why I was looking to find it, and it came screaming onto Netflix. And yeah, I watched it and again felt slightly better about my monthly money.
I think it came whimpering onto Netflix.
Like a dog with its tail between its legs. Let's end this video. Sorry guys, Martin thought it was shite. I thought it's alright. It's probably worth a watch if you're looking for something that you can kind of switch your brain off and kind of enjoy. It's campy horror fun, like Ernest Goes to Horror Camp. Good night.